thewellnesscouch.com, streaming wellness into your lives. This is Up for a Chat with Cindy O'Meara, Karen Smith, and Kim Morrison.
Here we are, up for a chat about the hottest topics that are important to you, inspiring you to awaken the change within. And I'm Cindy O'Meara. And today, you're going to be listening in on an interview that I did with 3 graduates from the Functional Nutrition Academy. These graduates are doing inspiring things, and you'll be like a fly on the wall listening in to an interview I do with them and talk to them about why they did the course, what the course was like, and the inspiring and amazing things that are doing right now. So enjoy. I promised you I would have 3 of our graduates here, and I have 3 from very different backgrounds. We have a dietitian, we also have someone who had a family member that wasn't well, and someone who just wanted to follow their passion in health and nutrition. So here are these wonderful 3 graduates. I'd like you to introduce you to Marnie. We also have Melinda and Beck. So I'm going to direct my first question to Melinda because Melinda was the one that had the health challenge in her family. So, what happened?
Okay, well, it's quite a few years ago now. 2011, my husband actually had an accident, and it was just an 18-month roller coaster. It was a bad leg break, that wasn't healing, turned into a bone infection. And I found this course because I found you, Cindy. So I found you on Up for a Chat, and that information came at a time where we really needed to hear that information. I wasn't coping. My moods were so low. I probably had, all these little health symptoms that, I just thought were normal, but, I had them. And his leg wasn't healing. So it was through listening to that information and then us coming to a crisis point that we went, right, we need to start implementing this information. And then it was when that just had such profound impact. My moods were improving. That was just a side benefit. We got him healed, we got him walking, we got him back to work. And then when you announced the course, it was like, right, jumping on.
I'm there, yeah. So implementing, was it hard?
The course or the food?
No, let's start with implementing, the food and changing. Was it hard?
Look, we just had to change what was on our plate. Mm-hmm. And I think when it becomes that let's just try it for 30 days and let's just do it, we just tried it and we just did one little thing at a time.
Yeah.
So it was too overwhelming to do everything at once. I couldn't get my head around that. So it was just taking it step by step. Mm. And first it was like, well, let's cut down the sugar, cut down the grains after you were talking about, the moods and the links with grains and everything like that. So that we just started one little step at a time.
Thank you. Now, Beck, you came because you're a policewoman in Victoria, but your passion was health.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was with Victoria Police for almost 12 years. I'd had 2 kids towards the end of that career. The last 4 years I'd had 2 kids. So I'd gone part-time. And after having kids, I don't know, I guess you sort of get you get a new lease on life, I think. And it just really identified with me that my passion was for nutrition and for the nutrition of kids. And as I was bringing up my kids, I sort of realised a number of the foods that were available. And it was, through my good friend that we met, and then I heard of the course, and it ignited something in me that I hadn't experienced before. So
yeah, that was wonderful.
So I've pursued that since.
Yeah, wonderful. And Marnie, you were a dietitian, or you are a dietitian. I shouldn't say you were a dietitian, but
I trained as a dietitian.
Yeah, you did. Why would you go from being a dietitian to doing my course? Because it's nutrition.
Yeah, it's quite different. I trained a long time ago. I trained 23 years ago and worked for a while in nutrition, really loved it. Kind of burnt myself out with it though. I won't go into all the details there. I don't think I really need to. But I ended up discovering that I wanted to be an athlete. So got into marathon running and decided, because I picked it up really late, I was in my early 30s, that I wanted to get to the top level and I wanted to train for the Olympics. And I was on track for that goal, even I think it was 5 years into my running. running really well, and I'd been through a few hiccups with injuries, but got through those, was starting to run really well, and then got a virus that ended up being chronic fatigue syndrome. So that really knocked me. I kept thinking I could get back there, I'll be able to train for the Olympics again if I just follow my good nutrition advice that I learned through university, see some doctors, whatever, and none of it was working. And so it's been 9 years now. I've seen lots of different, what were considered alternative health practitioners, and through that process, there's been new things coming out all the time, the genetics, the microbiome. I've gone from being a high-carb person, low-fat, to being, whole foods, high-fat, low-carb, grain-free. Look at the ingredients now. I don't look at the labels on it so much. And so then it's just brought back this passion for nutrition, but there was no way I wanted to go back to learning from uni. I needed to upskill, I needed to update myself, and I was searching for a course that would link in with my new philosophy on nutrition, and couldn't find anything in New Zealand. And then met Kim Morrison, and she told me all about your course, and as soon as she talked about your philosophy and got me to watch some videos, I watched What's with Wheat. I was just like, this is absolutely perfect. And it has been.
Yeah, and I must tell you that, we've just had our functional nutrition weekend where everybody comes, all the students, we had graduates, and I just loved what you had to say about the difference between the two. Like, I've always known it, but it was really cool to hear you say it. So we might put that up as a blog and let people read it, and they might really enjoy that.
I'd love to share that.
Wonderful. So I know why we know why you've all joined the course, because there was something that happened in your life that needed you to make some changes in your life, and education is the key to knowledge, and when we act on that knowledge, then it works beautiful. So did you have any challenges, Melinda, with the course in any way? How did you, you got kids, you had a career in events and community services, you had a husband that wasn't well, and you take on my 12-month course.
Yes.
Did you have any challenges?
I'm a bit of a planner though. So I actually asked for an extra day off, and I just had dedicated study days. And I think I had to do that. So then I really wanted to enjoy the experience. And so I so looked forward to those days. And he's like, I actually don't want to go too far, so slow down. Yeah. So
it was organisation.
Yes.
That was the main thing for you.
And those dedicated days where I didn't do the shopping or the cleaning, and I made sure that, I just dedicated those times.
Yeah. Well done.
That seemed to work.
Now, I know that you were working shift work back, you were policeman, solo mum, 2 children. How did you do it?
Again, it was just the dedicated study days, and it was just setting up a routine. So having a look at my calendar, looking at the spaces where I was either without the kids or just being able to fit it in. So what I did was my life at that time was a fortnightly cycle, and I had 2 days a fortnight where I wouldn't have my children. So as soon as I signed up, I was like, right, well, they are my study days. And it was nothing but study. It was early on, it was the Friday I worked. I arranged with my workplace 6 a.m. till 2 p.m. Then as soon as I finished that, 2:05, I was in the books. And I was in the books till 10 p.m. till midnight, and until I really, really needed to go to sleep. And then I was up early the next morning to ensure that I had another 6 or 7 hours there. And then in between, I had all the resources, all the study out, all the readings out on my kitchen bench. So I'd flick through them during the weeks when I could. I was cooking dinner, having a read of articles, and instead of being on my phone of an evening, it was like, well, I'm just going to grab something and read and highlight. So I knew that information would be there for the following fortnight when I had those dedicated study days.
Yeah, you prioritise.
It's prioritising and making it a priority, and just knowing that at the end of it, what that could mean.
Yeah. Now, it is a 12-month course, but of course you did it in 5 months.
Yeah.
10 months.
10 months?
4 months, but I don't have a job with children.
Yeah. plus, in all fairness, you also probably had a lot of that knowledge. We were just looking at a different paradigm shift, and you just had to get your head around that paradigm shift. And I loved how you said that over the weekend. You showed how the difference between nutritionism and holism, and people they're not even thinking of that. So
it's amazing how much when I look at products now, that is the first thing. And I've looked at a product before and gone, oh, that's natural. So even in my new philosophy, oh, that's natural. And now I'm learning more and more, and it's like it's an extract. I'm like, it's not. It's been pulled out. So it's been brilliant.
So, Marnie, what did you enjoy about the course?
I think cementing what I'd come to believe, and finding, especially in graduation weekend, finding that there's all these other people, and even I talk to doctors and nurses and chiropractors and naturopaths and people from all walks of life, not medical professions at all. But it was great to kind of talk to those people who had been through the same journey as me and are really struggling in their profession because they can't say what they know to be the truth or their truth, and based on science. It's not that we are out there and crazy. We are basing this on science. So I love that.
Yeah.
And I also, what I needed, because I was trying to do research on my own, but I was just going in all different directions, and I was like, I've got no framework for this. So learning about anthropology and culture and tradition, so we didn't do that really at uni. We might have done, 60 minutes on it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really emphasised. And so for me now, whenever I look at something, that's my first thing that I ask myself, did we eat that previously? Is it something that we've eaten? And how would it have been prepared? And it's just amazing. And then you can delve into the science. So it's the other thing I've really enjoyed is actually getting back into research, because I wasn't doing that, and I was starting to rely on the opinions of people that I respected, but I've been caught out along the way. And it wasn't my opinion. So now I can base it on my own research.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Linda, what did you like about the course? What was your favourite part of it?
Yeah, very similar. It is the connections and the friendships, and coming to the weekend is a really important part of that. And then you can start to form collaborations with other students. But it was also, the critical thinking. That was really good. And learning how to research, learning about PubMed. Oh, this is where I find the scientific articles. So like you said, if you find someone presents you with paleo's weird kind of article, you can go, well, hang on. And we've been taught, well, how do we unpack that and look at it and get some real facts to present to people? Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up about critical thinking, because for me, it's not about me telling you the answer. It's about giving you the information so that you can find your own answers. Because more often than not, we look at a headline and we believe it. And we don't really look critically at it and go, well, where did that research come from? Who funded that research? So thank you for that. Beck, what did you?
What I really enjoyed is how the modules sort of flowed seamlessly, one after the other. So once you were given a bunch of information, the next unit built on that and it complemented that. So as I've spoken with you about, during my study, the way that I learn is to do things in practice. So what I was doing, I was presenting to people in my community as I was learning the modules. And I was learning them obviously very quickly, but what it enabled me to do was have a set presentation, learn new information, and then alter the presentation for next time. So I was learning it as I was going along, and the way that it's structured enabled me to add in the same information to my presentations. So I loved the flow of it, and I loved, by the end of it, how much knowledge you actually gain.
So I want to know now, because we're kind of touching on it now.
Yeah.
What you're doing and your vision and your dream.
Yeah. Wow. That's a huge question, I guess you know. So what am I doing now? So as I said, I was doing the presentations during my study.
And then you were presenting to?
I was presenting to parents of schools and parents at primary schools in particular. And what happened from that was word of mouth, schools were hearing that that's what I was doing, and obviously knew that there was a need for parents in their schools to hear about nutritious lunchboxes and how we can either read nutrition labels a little bit better, and that was part of my presentations. From there, staff at one of the schools asked me if I could do something similar for the kids. So it was that light bulb moment where I was like, that is actually exactly what I want to do. I want to work with kids, and I want to ensure that their future is healthy, vibrant, and that they're equipped with the skills and knowledge around nutrition and how to take responsibility for their own health potential. So from there, I got to do some classes with some kids, which was amazing. And we were just making whole food snacks, but it opened up the discussion to talk about foods in their lunch boxes or that they have that may not make them feel well, that they know may not be good for them, but they don't know how else to change it if that's the foods available to them. So it's really was a theory-based class with a practical element, and allowed them to really build that healthy relationship with food and understand that where that food comes from and how it affects their body. And it just continued from there. After doing that with the grade 5s, they then wanted me to come back and work with all of the junior schools. So from there, I've started to build curriculum, and it is curriculum linked. So it's linked in with the Australian curriculum to ensure that the kids are meeting the education standards that they're required to at certain year levels at primary school. So
now the kids don't even learn this. You have taken yourself into the schools. They're not. How much are they learning about food and health? And
so what I've learned from being in this position is that the schools work on a cycle, and it's a 2-year cycle, and one term every 2 years is dedicated to health. So when I heard that, I mean, my heart breaks a lot when I think about kids and the future that we're creating for them, and how easy it could be to change that for them. But one term a month, and it's not 10 solid weeks of health application and knowledge and learning. It's maybe 1 or 2 lessons a week dedicated to health. And I understand the education system, there's so much that they want kids to learn these days, but I absolutely believe that if we can get this foundation right, and the foundation is nutrition, if that can get right, then their learning capabilities become better, their behaviour becomes better, there's less distractions in our classrooms. Mm-hmm. And that's just where my passion goes, is just kids' learning abilities and to allow them to blossom to their full potential. And if they don't have the skills and knowledge around nutrition, they're never going to reach that. And these are kids that are 5 years old that are already having that taken away from them because we're not stepping in and leading the way.
I absolutely love what you're doing, and I love your passion. Now I want you to tell us your vision of where you want to take your business.
Yeah, so my business is Omaha Nutrition, and I started it when I started my study, which was just, at the start, was a health and wellness advisory or coaching, really. I've then, as an arm of that, created Omaha Kids, and that's where my energy and my love goes to, is my Omaha Kids arm branch of the Omaha Nutrition. My vision is to have a well-respected, well-known, countrywide in-schools program, nutrition program, that has resources for all the teachers to go to. So they're looking at articles that allow kids to have that critical thinking. We need to give that skill to our kids as well, because they need to have an open mind when they're looking at things, and they need to learn to educate themselves, to empower themselves. So basically a curriculum-linked nutrition in-school program that can be delivered for foundation to grade 6. My vision goes further than that, to have then Omaha teens that they continue in high school to have access to I guess, my Omaha philosophy and the Omaha way. And I myself would love to see other Omaha instructors in the country. I'd love to do a lot more public speaking on kids' abilities to learn and how nutrition affects that. While I have other Omaha instructors doing what I'm doing by myself at the moment, because I like to think that the need and want is there to have people working with me doing that. Yeah,
I'm so excited to see you achieve that. So we'll do another interview with you in, let's say, 5 years, and everyone will know who Omaha Kids is and Omaha Teens. Melinda, I know that you graduated, what, about 2 years ago? 2 years ago, and we had you back last year at the Functional Nutrition Academy, weekend, and you spoke for us then, and you spoke again, and I've just seen you go from strength to strength. So tell us what you're doing now with your Functional Nutrition Academy's course graduate.
Yes. So my business is called EB Wellness, and I'm based in Western Sydney, New South Wales. And predominantly I just love running live workshops, because when I was knowing this information, have some friends over, they said, I want to know it. But until we actually got in the kitchen and started cooking it ourselves, and then they could taste the recipes, they just went, Yeah, that's not so hard. I can do that. And so it's been really important to have those really interactive, fun learning experiences. So we're knowing why we're making the changes, and then here are some easy ways to do it. And so I've just been showing my community what the recipes that work for us. So gluten-free, low-carb, whole food cooking, and then the fermenting as well. So especially around gut health, because it was really strengthening our gut health and our immunity, because that's what we needed to do for my husband especially. That's made such a difference. And then, you know, the microbiome part of the course. And so it's all that knowledge that then we can pass on and go, well, this is why we need to do it, and this is what we can do, and now let's make it, and I'll show you how. And then you can do it easily at home.
So in your community, you become like a bit of a go-to because you know where everything is. So when somebody starts on, you know, a real food reset, let's say, they don't know where to go. They don't know where to get their meat, where their fruit and vegetables, or where do they get really good ingredients. So you're a bit of a go-to.
Yes, yeah, we'll make up our own rice. Where do I get the bones? It's like, well, we can go to this market, you know, and it's all that. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And the other thing you're doing is the documentary screenings. You've been doing quite a few of those.
Yes, they've been great. I did a couple of the What's with Wheat screenings, the Magic Pill last year, and the Gut Movie. Another week's time. So and that's just been a great platform to, you know, again, get the education out to my community so they understand, you know, educate them a bit more, and then they can, you know who I am.
And I want people to know that you're not just getting 20 people there, you're getting hundreds of people to your documentary screening. So, you know, congratulations, you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
What's your vision?
What's my vision?
For the future?
I'm not good at all the vision.
Don't worry, I'm terrified.
No. Look, I started this because I was a mum that wasn't happy, and I see other women in the crowd and they're not happy either. And I want them, if I know, if they get this information and those women become happier and healthier, then that becomes a ripple effect with their family and what they can love to do and their passions. So I just want to help more women, and mums in particular in my community, become.
So your vision is for mums and women in your community to find health so they can live happier lives.
Yes, that one.
I like it. I really like it.
Yeah.
All right, Marnie. I know you've only just completed the course. And I know you've just purchased an amazing, or part owner, I should say, in an amazing business.
Yeah.
But apart from that, you know, what are you doing, and where do you want to go? What do you want to do?
When I grow up. I'm still 5'3", so. I started a couple of months before this course. I started a website called Perky NZ, and initially it was just to start writing, doing some blogs. I wanted to do some video content, which I've still got to get onto a little bit more because I've got a background in TV presenting as well. And then I've worked in a shopping channel, and what I've kind of didn't like about it is that there would be some products that I just ethically went behind. And so I wanted to kind of create a website where people could come, I could write information, they could kind of feel that it's a place that the information they get they can trust, and then I'd have some products that were affiliate products. It's not set up properly at the moment, and it's been a little bit on hold, but I would like to definitely start writing again, doing some video stuff. I'd like to do some speaking, potentially write a book, but what's my kind of focus area? I'm still trying to work it out a little bit. Definitely really interested in the low tox living, which is why buying into an essential oil and natural skincare company is amazing. I've had a dad who passed away from cancer. There seems to be more and more people being diagnosed with cancer. With the gut health side of things, there's also an interest through chronic fatigue. Again, so many friends that have Hashimoto's now. I've never heard of that in my life before, and it's just rampant now. Teenagers I know being diagnosed with chronic fatigue. So I've got an interest in gut health. I've got an interest in chemical-free living and cancer, and I don't know exactly where I'm going to take it right now.
Yeah, but you've got all the tools that you know in order to get there. So I'm excited to see.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how you do it. All right, so what advice would you give to someone who's interested in turning their passion in health and nutrition into a business?
I would just recommend to not question yourself or your abilities or your knowledge, because I think somewhere deep inside we all know there's a better way of living. So take the challenge on and take it where you can go. The sky's the limit, and once you're equipped with the knowledge that this course gives you, it does give you so much more confidence in so many areas, and we have the research to back that up. So I would just say one of my favourite sayings is take the leap and the net will appear, and that's pretty much what I've done and what I'm doing right now. But that's one of my favourite sayings, and it's so true, and we spoke about it over the weekend, just to surrender what could be, because who could you be? And that's a question I ask myself all the time, who could you be?
Well, I think where you've come from, you know, that you were in Victoria, you were a policewoman, you decided, I'm going to change, you educated yourself, you've now moved to a warmer climate.
Just a tad warmer.
Just a tad warmer climate. Brought your kids up here, and you are ready to fly.
Big change. Definitely feeling a lot of ambition at the moment, and desire to make that difference. And again, the confidence comes from what we've learned in the course, and knowing that these ladies are also, you know, they're my study partners and people that have gone through the same thing. So it's been amazing to meet everybody, because everybody's so inspiring, and so many of the people that were there on the weekend have such great visions. And so my advice would be just to follow that vision. If you've got the vision and you've got the passion, then you can do it.
And that's the good thing, is that you're not alone. It might be online, but you are not alone, because you know you can talk to everybody, and then we have 2 weekends a year where we get together and we either learn more information or we learn how to unpack the information. So, and you'll make new friends. It's lovely. What about you, Melinda? What would you say to people who have a passion for it? What would you say to them?
They're probably maybe doubting if there's actually a spot out there for them. Is there already too many health coaches? And look, you know, there's so many little markets and niches, and, you know, there's millions of people in Australia, and you go into any supermarket or, you know, shopping centre, and there's so many people who are sick and they need this information. And the more I get out there into workshops and to speak to one-on-one, you know, people are hungry for this information. They're searching for answers. You know, they're sick of and they don't want to be on medications for the rest of their life. They're just searching for other ways. So there's so many of us that are needed. So don't think that there's not a place for you. Yeah.
And many people, I find, like there are some people who will get this knowledge and they'll run with it by themselves. They'll be able to help their family, do what needs to be done. But you actually give them the practical skills. And that's what I love, is that there are other people out there that they want you to hold their hand. And probably more people are there wanting you to hold their hand, and that's what you do. You show them how to do things. And that's what we called it the Functional Nutrition Academy. Is it's useful information to help them change their life with food. That's what it is. So that's what I love about you, is that you are actually holding people's hands. You give them a little bit of information, then you say, look, we're doing this workshop. Would you like to come? Yes, I want to learn. I'm like that. I want to come and learn. You know, I'm a workshop girl. I love workshops.
And if they've got questions, you know, I get all the little emails and the photos of the butcher SCOBY and or like, you know, can you come and help me with the pantry shopping? Or they've never walked into a health food shop and they're so scary. Yeah. You know, stuff that we think is so simple, but, you know, just help them.
And you know what? That's a really good point. Even a health food store is not necessarily mean that the food is healthy.
Yes.
You know, we go through that. We go through, you know, how do we pick that out, and what about supplements? You know, there's a minefield out there. What's a good one and what's a bad one? And so you give them that information, and which is what I love. Now, my question is a little bit different to you, Marnie. What about for the professionals that know that nutrition is a really important part of what they're doing, but they don't know how to implement it, or they don't really know the first thing about it? But even the dietitians that are, you know, they're like disillusioned with what they've learned, and they realise it's not working. You know, what's your advice to them?
The ones that haven't done this course, clearly. Look, I would first of all challenge and look you up, and also get them to start following some of the people that I do follow, who are, because they've come from a very science research background, so there would be certain people I'd direct them to. Just start following this person, see what they're saying, He's a medical doctor who's now an integrative doctor. You know, you might relate really well to his advice. Just, you know, connect with all these people, these groups out there. I've been given lots of different websites, people I follow myself, and they will start to see that there is massive science behind it and there is a massive community behind it and there's a lot of support, and then they can link up and find out ways that they can implement it without, you know, within the restrictions of what they're doing, because I think that's the hardest thing at the moment. Even when I've seen integrative doctors and they've said, well, I'm telling you this, but I'm not telling you this because I'm not allowed to tell you this. And it is really difficult for people in the conventional medical industry right now that have, you know, feelings that they don't follow what's being taught to them.
Yeah, I've watched, you know, like pediatricians and dietitians and chiropractors and, you know, different professionals, you know, questioning what they're doing and is there a better way? You know, and especially ones that we're looking at always using medications instead of lifestyle, and we know that we have lifestyle diseases. So then you go, well, if it's a lifestyle disease, do we need to change the lifestyle?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I know, and it's that basic, and it's just, it's never seen as the first line of defence. Nutrition is always the end of the run, or, you know, it's starting with the easy stuff first. Some of it is education of the public, though. You know, I know, because I've got a family member who's a doctor, and I know there's times where people come to them, they want the fast option, they want the easy option, they're not prepared to change. But I think for them, they can put a bit of a seed in their brain if they have that information around nutrition, that there is a better way. Maybe we could try that, and if that doesn't work, we can look at putting you on a medication. I don't know. Yeah.
And, you know, we're not going to, not everybody wants to change.
No, that's right.
You know, there's only a percentage of people that say, you know what, I want to do this. But I find when people are in crisis, is when they go, well, this isn't working, what am I going to do? And that's the sad thing, is that we get them when they're in crisis as opposed to, hey, I want to prevent this. You know, it's not, someone doesn't come up to you and say, look, I want to prevent multiple sclerosis, you know. But we actually know that, you know, through Dr. Terry Walls, that you can change your outcome if you have that disease. You don't have to end up the way they, you know, that they say that you're going to end up.
One of the things I really love too with this course, which I didn't say before, but you guys might relate to, is you talk about being the example and not being the preacher or being the, I can't remember what the word is that you use, but I think that's absolutely massive when people see what you're doing with even your clients. So, you know, if you've got medical professions that you're trying to kind of talk about what you're doing, and you show them what you've achieved with your clients and what you've achieved with your own health, and it's got to get in somehow like that, and not talk about, you know, being right or wrong, because with you it's all about, well, go out and do the research, go and read this, see what's happening, you know, see the results that these people are getting, and
or try it
speaks
yourself.
For itself.
Yeah. Try it yourself. Try it yourself. If it works for you, great.
What's the worst that can happen?
What's the worst thing that can happen is real food.
It's not dangerous.
So I have one question left for all of you, and I'll start with you, Marnie. So any words of wisdom that you have that you would, if like people are watching this because they're contemplating doing the course, any last words of wisdom?
Yeah, just do it. Okay, that'll be one. It's a course that it doesn't matter whether you want to get into doing this as a job or whether you want to teach yourself, teach your family, teach your friends how to avoid a lot of these lifestyle diseases, how to be aware of what's going on in our food industry right now, because it's not just a case of balance, you know, it's not common sense anymore. It's actually quite technical what's happening in our food that we're not aware of. Just to go and do it. And at the end of it, if you do want to get into it as a profession, this will give you all the tools that you need to do it. You do not need to go to university to get a nutrition degree to do this. In fact, I wouldn't recommend it. I think that you'll get a lot more skills and a lot more tools to actually research and have the right information to give to people by doing Cindy's course. Totally.
Thank you. Linda, what about you? Any words of wisdom to somebody who's contemplating doing the course?
Yeah.
We can go to Beck next.
You're still thinking?
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I think absolutely do it. As Marnie just said, whether it's just for yourself, for your own personal knowledge and your own personal well-being, you will not be disappointed. The information that you gain and the skills that you gain in terms of critical thinking and understanding those things that should be simple, like reading our packages and understanding the food and the food labelling, that sort of stuff will set you up well on the road to greater health. So absolutely, if you've even thought about it for a second, I would absolutely sign up. You won't be disappointed.
It's better than I ever expected. It's so much better.
Melinda, I know why you started this. So you started this because of your family. But it was to change more and to learn more and to understand more. I don't know, I might be wrong here. You didn't start the course to do what you're doing right now?
Well, I knew I wanted to help get this information out. Okay. And then I made a decision, okay, I want to do that in an official way. So I was starting to look around, and I did look at IIN first. And then when you put this course, I thought, I'm totally gonna, believe in that. I know your philosophy. And then it's really helped deepen my understanding around, well, why did those food changes actually help me? And so really deepen that more. So whether people are just, at the moment just foodies and they just want to deepen their own understanding, or then they think, I want to help get this information out to my community too. It just kind of opens this world of possibilities. And then, you come up to the weekend and you start chatting to other people. So if you haven't got set ideas, then you start to get ideas and inspiration, and then, there is a little niche for you as well.
And you are an inspiration.
Thank you.
I love what you're doing. I want to thank you girls for coming along and letting everybody know, what this was about for you. And everybody is different and everybody comes in for a different reason, but it's just nice to get different backgrounds and your points of view. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Beck, Melinda, and Marnie are three amazing women. I am so inspired by what they're doing and their visions after, living with their passion. And that's what it is. It's about people living with a passion and a love for what they do. Because when you love and have a passion for something, everything seems so much easier and your vision comes so much quicker. Now, if you would like to join a video series that we're doing called The Evolution of Diet, you have just seen a sneak preview of one of the audios. It's actually a video, but you heard it as an audio. So what I'm doing is I am doing a series of videos on the evolution of diet, because it's through the evolution of diet that we can make sense of the craziness and the amount of information that is out there that is conflicting and confusing. And what this will do is help you understand what we used to eat, what we're eating right now, and why we're eating right now, and how it kind of makes a little bit of sense on what we used to eat. So if you would like to join this video series, there is a link in the show notes. So you can go to www.fn.academy/evolution of diet, but it's better off to get that link in the show notes. Now, if you do like our Up for a Chat and you enjoy listening to us, we'd love a 5-star rating. And if you want more information, just do allthews.com, thewellnesscouch.com/up for a chat. And we look forward to seeing you next week, where Kim and I will be answering some questions that people from the Functional Nutrition Academy weekend with, unpacking the knowledge have asked us. I think you'll enjoy. So we'll see you on the ride. Bye for now.
This has been a production of TheWellnessCouch.com. Check us out on Facebook and join in the conversation on Facebook.com/TheWellnessCouch. Subscribe to each show on iTunes and check us out on Twitter. The Wellness Couch, streaming wellness into your lives. Whilst the Wellness Couch presenter endeavor to provide accurate and helpful information to their listeners, these podcasts cannot take into account individual circumstances and are not intended to be a substitute for health and medical advice from a qualified health professional. You should always seek the advice of a qualified health professional before acting on any of the information provided by any of the Wellness Couch podcasts.